vicious fighting that ripped this city apart in 1993.
Confronting problems squarely, and we are making changes as needed. Our priorities, however, remain the same: the protection of our country, the security of our troops, and the spread of freedom throughout the world. Like other generations of Americans, we have accepted a difficult and historic task. We have made clear commitments before the world, and America will keep those commitments. First, we will take every necessary measure to assure the safety of American and coalition personnel and the security of Iraqi citizens. We're on the offensive against the killers and terrorists in that country, and we will stay on the offensive. In and around Fallujah, U.S. Marines are maintaining pressure on Saddam loyalists and foreign fighters and other militants. We're keeping that pressure on to ensure that Fallujah ceases to be an enemy sanctuary. In northern sectors of the city, elements of the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force are prepared to strike at terrorist fighters and prevent a resurgence of violence and chaos. South of the city, the Marines are disrupting enemy attacks on our supply routes and routing out anti-coalition fighters. In towns of Ramadi and Huzabaya and Karma, Marines are on the offensive, conducting hundreds of patrols and raids every day. The enemy in Fallujah is hiding behind an innocent civilian population and calculating that our coalition's use of force will alienate ordinary Iraqis. Yet every day our troops are responding with precision and discipline and restraint. We're taking every precaution to avoid hurting the innocent as we deliver justice to the guilty. We're helping to build Iraqi forces that can take responsibility for security. And our forces are also helping to ensure the delivery of humanitarian supplies to families that suffer as a result of the chaos in certain communities created by the terrorists and those who want to halt the advance of freedom. In Najaf, a major Shia population center in the Holy Site, our military is systematically dismantling an illegal militia that has attempted to incite violence and seize control. Soldiers from the 2nd Light Cavalry Regiment are conducting reconnaissance to learn the precise strength and location of enemy forces. A legitimate governor has been appointed. The people oppose the occupation by this illegal militia and are putting pressure on the militia to withdraw. We're encouraged to see more Iraqis take responsibility for resolving the standoff in Najaf. In all these ongoing operations, our troops continue to face serious danger, and this government is giving them every means of protecting themselves and every means necessary to gain victory. We're fielding the most technologically advanced military forces ever assembled. Forces that are agile and flexible, able to strike in darkness and in light. Supplying and protecting our forces in Iraq is a long-term responsibility. So I've asked Congress to provide an additional $25 billion for a contingency reserve fund that can be used for ongoing operations in Iraq. I have pledged, as has the Secretary of Defense, to give our troops everything that is necessary to complete their mission with the utmost safety. And I urge Congress to join me in fulfilling this important commitment. Our military, from this building to the streets of Fallujah, is performing with exceptional skill and courage. They and their families are making tremendous sacrifices for the security of our nation and for the freedom of others. And all the hardships and sacrifices are not behind us. Our nation is caring for the wounded and grieving for the lost, and praying for families who live in sorrow. We will always remember the ones who have died, and we will honor their sacrifice by completing the mission. Our second great commitment in Iraq is to transfer sovereignty to an Iraqi government as quickly as possible. Decades of oppression destroyed every free institution in Iraq, but not the desire to live in freedom. Like any proud country, the Iraqi people want their independence. The Iraqi people need to know that our coalition is fully committed to their independence, and we're fully committed to their national dignity. This is the reason the June 30th transfer of sovereignty is vital. The Iraqi people and men and women across the Middle East are watching closely, and they will see America keep its word. The United Nations Special Envoy, Mr. Brahimi, is now back in Iraq, consulting with diverse groups of Iraqis. In the next few weeks, important decisions will be made on the makeup of the interim government. As of June 30th, Iraq's interim government will assume duties now performed by the coalition, such as providing water and electricity and health care and education. A key strategic goal of our coalition is to help build a new Iraqi army and civil defense corps and police force and facilities protection service, and a border guard capable of defending and securing the country. Major General Dave Petraeus, who commanded the 101st Airborne in Iraq, has returned to oversee the training and equipping of these all-Iraqi forces. Once constituted, they will protect a free Iraq from external aggression and internal subversion. Yet the vital mission of our military in helping to provide security will continue on July 1st and beyond. Having brought freedom to Iraq, America will make sure that freedom succeeds in Iraq, a nation we will be proud to call a friend and partner in the pursuit of peace. Third, because America is committed to the equality and dignity of all people, there will be a full accounting for the cruel and disgraceful abuse of Iraqi detainees. Conduct that has come to light is an insult to the Iraqi people and an affront to the most basic standards of morality and decency. One basic difference between democracies and dictatorships is that free countries confront such abuses openly and directly. In January, shortly after reports of abuse became known to our military, an investigation was launched. Today, several formal investigations led by senior military officials are underway. Secretary Rumsfeld has appointed several former senior officials to review the investigations of these abuses. Some soldiers have already been charged, and those involved will answer for their conduct in an orderly and transparent process. We will honor rule of law. All prison operations in Iraq will be thoroughly reviewed to make certain that such offenses are not repeated. Those responsible for these abuses have caused harm that goes well beyond the walls of a prison. It has given some an excuse to question our cause and to cast doubt on our motives. Yet who can doubt that Iraq is better for being free from one of the most bloodiest tyrants the world has ever known? Millions of Iraqis are grateful for the chance they have been given to live in freedom, a chance made possible by the courage and sacrifice of the United States military. We have great respect for the people of Iraq and for all Arab peoples, respect for their culture and for their history and for the contribution they can make to the world. We believe that democracy will allow these gifts to flourish, that freedom is the answer to hopelessness and terror, that a free Iraq will lead the way to a new and better Middle East, and that a free Iraq will make our country more secure. I understand the difficulty of the mission of our men and women in uniform. They're facing an enemy in sand and heat and blasting winds, often unable to tell friend from foe. I know how painful it is to see a small number dishonor the honorable cause. in which so many are sacrificing. What took place in the Iraqi prison does not reflect the character of the more than 200,000 military personnel who have served in Iraq since the beginning of Operation Iraqi Freedom. All Americans know the goodness and the character of the United States Armed Forces. No military in the history of the world has fought so hard and so often for the freedom of others. Today, our soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines are keeping terrorists across the world on the run. They're helping the people of Afghanistan and Iraq build democratic societies. They're defending America with unselfish courage. And these achievements have brought pride and credit to this nation. I want our men and women in uniform to know that America is proud of you and that I'm honored to be your Commander-in-Chief. Thank you.
President Bush, live from the Pentagon. The president just gave a strong, terse show of support for his embattled Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. And then he decided, the president recited a list of what he sees as the military and other accomplishments in Iraq. We go now to CBS News Chief White House Correspondent John Roberts at the White House. John, this is playing out against a background. You may want to sketch that quickly for us.
Right, Dan. The background is that there are increasing calls for the Secretary of Defense to resign or to be fired by President Bush. So far, the White House has stood foursquare behind the Secretary, as you heard the President today, calling him a courageous and strong leader, that the nation owes him a debt of gratitude for his service. There is a debate here as to whether or not firing Rumsfeld might actually make the problem worse for President Bush, because it might not only illuminate that there are problems with the prison abuse at Abu Ghraib and perhaps other prisons, but as well would that open the door to the idea that his entire Iraq policy has been a failure. That's a debate here at the White House as well, and certainly one that the president is taking under consideration. Another debate going on here, what to do about these latest photos and perhaps the videos that are out there as well. Do you get everything out at once? Do you deal with it and then try to move on, or do you allow it to sort of slowly drip, 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 as it has been in the past little while? The president also today trying to move past the Iraqi abuse, saying, well, that's a problem. We have to keep our eye on the big picture here, the transition of power on June 30th. And again, even though there have been these images about that may raise some questions in some people's minds about what America's motives are, the president saying, who can argue that Iraq is not better off without Saddam Hussein? Dan?
John Roberts speaking live from the White House. The Army Times, Navy Times, and Marine Times, all read widely by U.S. forces, ran an editorial today charging the Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld of, quote, failure that amounts to professional negligence, unquote. But so far, as he indicated again as he spoke just a few moments ago, President Bush is standing by Rumsfeld. There'll be much more about the Iraqi prisoner abuse story and about Donald Rumsfeld's efforts to remain Defense Secretary on your local news on this CBS station as the day goes along, and full coverage tonight on the CBS Evening News. For now, Dan Rather reporting from CBS News in New York. I'll see you later.
For news 24 hours a day, log on to cbsnews.com.
From your news and information leader, this is News Channel 5 at midday.
And good Monday morning, everybody. Several new jobs are coming to Middle Tennessee. Governor Bredesen attended this big ribbon-cutting ceremony in Gallatin this morning. That's where News Channel 5 Lyra Manning was for the grand opening. Lyra, tell us more about this new business that's coming to the mid-state. Well, we're having trouble with that, but let's get on some other news, and then we'll get back to Lyra up in Gallatin. A 13-year-old girl was killed in a car accident, for the rest of her family made it out alive. And it happened overnight on I-65 near Bowling Green, Kentucky. Police say the girl, Amanda Fuqua, died in the single-car wreck. Her mother, Lolita, and 33 other children were hurt. 2 victims were life-flighted to Vanderbilt Medical Center. The crash is under investigation. The 101st soldier accused of killing 2 comrades in Kuwait is scheduled to go before a judge. Pre-trial hearings begin today.